person eats normal meal every day and maybe 2 to 3 times a month, even if he eats fried stuff or sweets, weight will never come back.
Essentially, it means that you can binge once in a while.
Yes, after you have achieved your weight loss. So first 1 year, if you try to avoid all these things completely, you can reach your best weight. And then after that, I'm not saying binge, but you can, if somebody loves chocolate, maybe one can have chocolate once or twice a month. If somebody loves to have biryani, one can have a biryani once or twice a month. But you can't have it on an everyday basis. What I'm trying to say is you can enjoy those things which we have deprived you in the first year. After that, lifelong. You go to a party, you can even have a cake. I have no problem with that. But you cannot have a cake every day and say I will lose weight.
So, music to diabetics ears, I guess. Okay. Now, can you also tell us about the awareness that is needed to make this more popular, especially among diabetics?
All right. The main issue is that these surgeries can put diabetics in remission. That means they will be able to stop their medicines within 2 months of surgery. How medicine can be stopped? Medicine will only be stopped if your sugar levels are normal. Medicine cannot be stopped if your sugars are high. So it's an important tool, and this remission thing has come only after surgery has come.
Okay.
Before that, there was no term like diabetes remission. With medicines, it's extremely difficult to get remission.
Essentially, it's a reversible situation.
It's a control which is achieved without medicine after surgery.
Yeah.
More than 80% patients will go off medicines within 2 months, even if they were on insulin, high dose insulin before surgery. So it's a huge thing. And if they can remain in this situation for next 10 years, imagine its impact. So what diabetologists would do is put up patients so that their sugars remain under control, and so that the complications of kidney failure or heart attacks or brain strokes are avoided, or they don't lose their vision.
Okay.
Here we are in a situation where this is achieved, these complications can be delayed, and also the complications of drugs like insulin leads to weight gain or other drugs are completely avoided. So it's a great achievement for a disease for which up till now no cure was available. And I believe the awareness level are at pedestrian level at the moment. Only highly educated people or in the metro cities are coming forward for treatment of diabetes alone.
Okay.
Obese people are obviously coming because they are obese and they have diabetes.
Okay.
But the awareness level has to spread far and wide. Let's say if there are 100 diabetics, even if we target 1% of them who are uncontrolled with the best possible medicines and best possible counseling session, these are the people at a high risk of heart attacks, high risk of kidney failure and vision loss. If they are offered this surgery and they became controlled diabetic, the heart attacks and kidney failures will drop down to 1% in those patients or less.
True.
And it's a big achievement. We are not talking of these 7 crore Indians who are diabetics. We are saying even if 1% of them are offered this surgery, it's a big service to mankind.
Okay, doctor. What is the cost of doing the surgery?
Okay. The cost of surgery in any city in India varies from hospital to hospital, but on an average, the cost could be anywhere from 2 lakh to 5 lakhs. All right, depending on which surgery is being done, which hospital it's being done. Now we operate even on CGHS patients, so central government employees, and the government has fixed the cost at around 2,25,000 rupees in their hospitals.
Briefly, can you tell us about those 16 various ways of doing surgeries?
Oh, let's not talk of 16 ways because most of them are not applicable to Indian situations.
Oh, okay.
Because our diets are different, we don't eat that much proteins.
Okay.
The surgeries which are acceptable for Indian situations are primarily four.
Okay.
It could be a gastric band, it could be a sleeve gastrectomy, it could be a gastric bypass, or it could be a duodenal switch. All these surgeries work on the same principle except the duodenal switch.
Okay.
In duodenal switch, besides reducing the size of the meal, we also cause significant malabsorption. So those patients can end up with difficult problems. And we offer it only to those who are hardcore non-vegetarians who can eat at least 100 gram proteins a day.
Okay.
Otherwise, duodenal switch we offer to extremely rare situation in India.
Okay.
But primarily it is a sleeve gastrectomy and gastric bypass,
Okay.
which can treat both diabetes and also obesity.
Can you briefly tell us again what are the pre-operative and the post-operative care that diabetics have to maintain for this particular?
Okay. There is no magic in this surgery. So pre-operatively, they need to be prepared well for surgery. That means their sugar levels have to be brought down to around 200 or less with whatever medicines.
No infections. And
All the tests have to be done. Obviously, there should be no infection in the body. And they are counseled about the kind of lifestyle change they are going to have after surgery.
okay.
Now, typically patients ask, so now my diabetes is gone, I can eat sweets? No, which is wrong. What has happened after surgery is that your medicines have stopped and your sugars remain under control. You are not allowed to have sweets on an everyday basis. You can enjoy still sweets with sugar substitutes as you are doing before surgery. So the only restriction remains is the dietary restrictions. But medicines, timing your meals with medicines or the medicines with meals is no more required. The control happens when you eat. So after surgery, we tell the patient to eat more frequently, because how the diabetes gets controlled when the person eats food, the hormonal changes which happen in the intestine which control sugar. So if somebody does fast or starves, the sugars can go up. Now it's reverse. Earlier, a diabetic would fast, the sugars will go down.
Yeah.
Now if we fast, the sugars go up. So we tell the patient to eat 5 or 6 meals a day. So if you eat every 2 to 3 hours, your sugar will remain under control, because now the hormonal changes happen because of surgery. Alright, so that is one precaution. Second thing is that we discuss with physicians that try to avoid giving insulin. There are other medicines. So if somebody still needs medicine, if you give insulin to them, their sugars don't get controlled, which doesn't work with the mechanism of surgery. So they need to take oral tablets, which helps well in those 15 to 30% patients who may still need medicine. So that is another precaution. Third is obviously they should avoid starving or going on a fast. They should be allowed to eat early. If they are sick, they should be allowed to eat early. If they fall sick, their sugars can go up and they may still need some medicines for that. So these are primary precautions one has to take, and that can help in excellent control of sugars in long term.
Doctor, you being a diabetic surgeon, rather,
Diabetic surgeon, yeah.
Yeah, so essentially it would also mean that you don't have to go to a diabetologist after the surgery. You will also give, the advice.
No, generally we don't advise that.
Okay.
The patient is best seen by their own physician or diabetologist, because they know their history. They understand them better than. So it's not only a question of drugs; it's a question of their lifestyle, which the primary diabetologist knows.
No, I asked that question because, in particular, diabetics have this problem that 2 doctors will have 3 opinions. So
No, so it's very simple. We send the patient back to the diabetologist with our opinion, with our and we also advise them what kind of medicines would work better.
Okay.
And a well-informed diabetologist already knows about it. So I don't think that's a bigger issue.
Okay. I've got only 2 more questions. One is about, can you give us a case study of your 2 good patients? Can you tell us about 2 good patients, without naming them, of course, about a remarkable change or something like that? Which is
Yeah,
striking?
that's possible.
Okay.
We had a gentleman who came from Kerala.
Okay.
He's from Trivandrum. And it's a remarkable story, because it's a story which has touched me long time back. And this gentleman was working as a construction supervisor in Middle East.
Oh.
And he was diabetic for 15 years before he came to us. He was on insulin for 4 years before he came to us. He already had a heart attack. So he got a stent placed in his heart in India. He came back, got it done. And ultimately he lost vision in both his eyes because of diabetic retinopathy. At 43 years, this gentleman who was earning bread for his entire family, he was sending money from Middle East to Kerala to support his family.
He was only 43.
43. He became a dependent. And obviously his employers in the Middle East said that now you're of no use to us. So he was sent back to India. And to the tune that he could not even see lights, so his brothers would escort him to the toilet, to washroom, everything. He became a dependent, and which is a major crisis. A person born blind from childhood knows how to move around. An adult who had vision earlier does not know what it takes to do even minor things. So this fellow was brought up in by his brothers who were working in Bombay to me, and he was quite thin. He was just 26 BMI, so he was about 12 kg overweight, and he was diabetic. So I operated him on 20th December. I remember the dates because this was a story, as I said, which has touched me very closely. December 2008, 28th December to be precise, and 10th January 2009, just about 14 days later, we had to stop all his medications because he became hypoglycemic first time. And from that day till this date, he has not touched even a tablet of diabetic medication. Every 3 months we get his blood sugar done, the glycosylated hemoglobin, HbA1c, and is consistently below 6. And I went for a vacation to Kerala last year, so since he finds it very difficult to travel, so I informed him and he came and met me in the hotel. And he said, "Doctor, why you did not operate me 5 years earlier? I would not have lost my job, I would not have lost my eyes." So a remarkable story, because I don't know if I had operated him earlier, could I have saved his eyes. But the fact is, if his sugars had remained controlled, even with medication, probably he would not have lost his vision.
Yeah, true.
So if surgery had given this control, probably this vision loss might have happened 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line. I have no way to say why it happened, how it could have been changed.
True.
But even if this gentleman had 10 years of productive life, it would have made so much difference in his lifetime.
True, very true. Can you tell us one more, any of our remarkable stories that you have about your patients who have undergone surgery? Any diabetic?
Lots. I mean, these are diabetic I'm talking about. Yeah, lots of them. You know, if we talk of people who are overweight, we have a gentleman who is a businessman, stays on the Worli Sea Face, related to an eminent cardiologist at Bombay Hospital. And this gentleman had large ulcers on his feet, diabetic ulcers, which were not healing. And he was somewhere about 198 kgs when I was called in to have a look at him for his diabetes control and weight loss.
198 kgs?
198 kgs. And this gentleman had been in and out of this hospital 3 or 4 times for treatment of diabetic. Every time he will remain there for 1 month, repeated surgeries on his foot. He had large scars on his feet running almost 6 to 8 inches. And still the ulcers were not healing. When I went and saw him, his sugars were somewhere about 350 or so. In the hospital, with the physicians managing and everything being looked after. So I told him that he needs surgery. He was very scared of surgery. So I spoke to him in detail, and then I think 1st January 2013 I operated him. I remember him because 1st January generally people don't want surgery, and this gentleman insisted I want to get it done on 1st January. We operated him, and I saw him yesterday. For last almost 10 months, he is completely off diabetic medication. His HbA1c is under 5. Okay, so you know, if somebody is 5 to 6 with non-diabetic, his HbA1c is under 5, And he says his fasting sugars and PP sugars are never more than 110 without any medication. His swelling, his medical requirement has gone, and he told me, he says, Dr. Saab, मैं झूठ नहीं बोलूँगा, मैं रोज मिठाई खाता हूँ, मैं रोज मिठाई खाता हूँ. मैं बोला कि आपको मना किया था. बोले बात सही है, पर मेरी शुगर तो नॉर्मल है, फिर मैं क्यों अपने, मेरे को तो मैं मारवाड़ी हूँ, मुझे मिठाई खाने से क्यों रोकते हैं आप?
Incredible.
So, these are the stories which bring tears even in the doctor's eyes. Because when I said, like this gentleman from Mr. Nair who came from Trivandrum, when his insulin stopped, I really had tears in my eyes when we were taking rounds. Because I told my residents, people will realize 100 years down the line what big achievement happened on that 10th January in this hospital. Because this is lack of awareness that people are still dying in cities who are living with type 2 diabetic which are uncontrolled. And there are studies, let's say in Mumbai, that 70% of diabetics in Mumbai are uncontrolled. We are talking of a metro city with high level of information overload, and still 70%. Think of every taluka place, every village where there are diabetics who can afford surgery, who can get any kind of treatment done, and they do not even know that this kind of option exists. And that's where media like yours can play a big part. This could be a jamidar, or it could be a landlord, and anybody who can afford a surgery, or their children can afford a surgery, but they don't know that their father can live longer or can live a healthier life.
Sure.
If they undergo a 1 hour or 1.5 hour surgery, which is laparoscopic surgery, and once they are out of the hospital in 2 to 3 days, their sugars can go down.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Mr. Nair, thank you very much for coming and taking this interview.